Let it be known that the true light shines in every woman and man that cometh into the world. The true light that shineth in the darkness, but the darkness comprehendeth it not. Let us all within air of this true light fellowship hour bear witness to the true light within, that we may, like the real and living Messiah, Yahshua Christ, who many know today as Jesus Christ, pick up and bear our own cross, that we may be worthy of the Messiah by way of the Christ or Christ consciousness, known also as the first resurrection. And as we are now living in these times, let us all rise from our sleep and slumber and do the works of the Most High Heavenly One, this day and every day, as we say, Amun, 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 and Namastu, which simply means, I bow to the divinity in you. Well, Namastu again, and welcome to another Sunday service here at the Holy Qubtic Church of the Black Messiah. My name is Pastor Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas III, also known as Ka-Hun, Anku Sarah. As always, we'd like to begin by greeting our listening congregation, those who may hear this through radio, Facebook, or YouTube, or even those who may be watching this service. We encourage you to come down to historic Bain town any Sunday at 9 a.m. for our Sunday service, or any Wednesday at 7 p.m. for our True Light Fellowship and Bible study. As we are a teaching church, we want you to question what it is that we're teaching you so that you can have a better grasp of it. And for those of you who did make it, again I say Namastu. Namastu. Namastu means I bow to the divinity in you. And we say Shalom Reo. Shalom Reo. Which again simply means good morning or peaceful uprising. And today we want to talk about the Most High a little bit. And we do every Sunday, but I don't know if everybody is aware that that's what we're doing. And so I think it's important for us to take a break in some ways from going in some of the directions that we're going in, as far as the many different stories. There are many stories that we have to learn about and understand and get the full ramifications behind those stories. And it's also important to come back and define the context, because the Most High is ultimately the context in which these stories are manifesting in. And so we want to just start on page 11 of the original books of the Bible. And this is actually in the introduction of the original books of the Bible, but page 11, which is before book 1, in Papyrus 1. And the title of this section is, O Most High Heavenly One, who art in heaven, holy is thy name. We're just going to read the first 3 paragraphs. It says, the Holy Qubtic Church holds that the holy and most sacred name of the Most High Heavenly One, who is formless and invisible, yet allows a portion of and from within to take on form, thereby becoming visible within various generations, is Ane-Re. Everybody say that. Ane-Re. This taking on of form is done in order to allow the Most High Heavenly One to feel and perceive that which humanity is experiencing, in order that the guardian angelic hosts be given proper programming and guidance as to how they must interact with and instruct humanity. Do you picture the Most High Heavenly One as a person or a thing? Is the Most High Heavenly One male or female? If a person, is the person white black, red, or yellow? Could that person be short or tall, with a beard or without a beard? And if you conceive the Most High Heavenly One as a thing, what kind of thing? A point, a sphere, a cube, or perhaps a star? The moon, the sun? Right now, you should get our point. And so this is where I want to start today in this sermon, because we've been given so many ideas of what the Most High Heavenly One is that we actually miss what the Most High Heavenly One is. We are so caught up on our religion that we are blinded to the Most High. We are so caught up on our religion around the world, but most especially within the communities of the Nubian Melanomites, blacks, Caribbeans, Latinos, etc., those of the African diaspora, and even on the continent, especially on the continent. We're blinded to the Most High because we're caught up in religion. We're caught up in someone's interpretation of the Most High, as opposed to acknowledging the interpretation that the Most High has guided us to, because we've never been left without guidance. We've never been left without guidance. We've always had guidance. The biggest problem, though, for our community is we don't accept the guidance that the Most High Heavenly One provides for us, because we're so influenced by foreign forces, by adverse forces. See, when it says you're saved by the blood, and we love to talk about this blood, nothing but the blood of Jesus. Oh, we sing for this now. We dressed up. You know what I'm saying? We go to church early through the week. We'll catch an early mass. We go to prayer meeting, we go to choir practice. And we got that part down pat. However, I'm challenging everybody in here today, and everybody watching, everybody listening, to ask yourself, do I know who the Most High is? Let's ask ourselves that. Do I know who the Most High is?
Who the Most High is.
And I'm not answering that question for you. You have to answer that question for yourself. Hopefully, after today's sermon, you would at least have a better appreciation of what the Most High is, so that ultimately, what are we doing here at the Holy Qubtic Church? We're striving to become one with the Most High Heavenly One. Not to worship and grovel before the Most High Heavenly One, but to become one with. At one. When you say at one, what are you saying? At one. Atone. To atone. To balance out your misdeeds. To restore. To put things back in order. To bring the scales of justice to a balanced position. That's what it means when we become one with the Most High. And so, our true religious identity has been hijacked. Okay? Identity theft is the oldest crime on the planet. A lot of us think that identity theft became something new with technology, that somebody could take your ID and go shopping with it, and then leave you with the bill and take all the goods. Well, that's exactly what they did with our true religious identity. They, and who's they? The enslavers amongst the Indo-Aryans, the Greco-Romans, the Pale Arab Emirates, those who separated atonism and made it monotheism, whereby we've been taught that Judaism, Christianity, and Islam are three separate religions that fall under the umbrella of monotheism. But while they're teaching us this, they're also saying, because they couldn't erase this part, that the actual founder of monotheism, or the person who actually brought this precept, or they would say concept, to the planet, was a Baba or Pope, some would say Pharaoh, by the name of Ankh and Aton. Ankh and Aton. Or Aton. Or Akhenaten, as they would say. And so all biblical scholars, theologians, seminary trained priests, anybody worth their salt knows, and let me write it. Akhenaten. So when you start to look it up, Google it, etc., you'll find Akhenaten. Okay? But everybody who understands what they call theology knows his name. Now, they learn that, go to seminary, they learn that, and they come out of seminary and they don't teach that to you. Now that's the why. Yeah, you said it right. That's a why. You understand what I'm saying? Because either they forgot, or while they were being taught it, they say, but you ain't got to teach that part. Either or. Honestly, I ain't been to their seminary. We've been to our own seminary. So we teaching it because that's what we was taught to teach. You understand? But Ankh and Aton, Akhenaten, who's the father of who? Father of Atonism, which they call monotheism. We know he wouldn't have said monotheism because he didn't speak Greek and he didn't speak Latin. That's a Greco-Roman word. You understand? So we understand that he would have utilized and said the word Atonism. Okay? As well as his son, Tutankhamun, as well as his wife, Nefertiti. Now you learn about these people. You turn on National Geographic, you go on Discovery Channel, you know, they'll show you these people. But they will never give you the connection to these people to your true religious identity. You learn about it like, oh, that's history. Oh, well, you know, the Egyptians, yeah, you know, they was really about the afterlife, and, you know, they used to bury all that stuff with them, and, you know, they give you all these wonderful stories, and they cut the commercial. You see what I'm saying? And that's what your true religious identity has been relegated to. It's been watered down to. Right? But when it's time to talk about Jesus, and let me be clear now, I'm not making fun of the real and living Messiah, Yahshua Christ. Because there's a difference. And that's a part of what cultural diffusion is. Cultural diffusion says, oh, you know, you say Jesus, you say Yahshua, it's all the same thing. God, Allah, Jehovah, all of them is the same. It's the same, different names for the same person, the same being. That's a lie. That's a lie. That's like 1,000 years from now, you saying, oh, you know, Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, Mahatma Gandhi, you know, all of them start with M. Same people. Or say different names for the same person. You know. The people in India used to call them Mahatma Gandhi. You know, down in South Africa, they used to call him Mandela. Or in America, you had some who used to call him Martin Luther King Jr. and some used to call him Malcolm X. But it was the same person. That's what they've done. You understand? And we laugh at it now because why? We know all of these are different people. But there are records that are guiding us so that we can understand that no, Jesus isn't Yahshua. No. Jesus is Jupiter and Zeus. Jupiter is the high holy god of the Romans, and Zeus is the high holy god of the Greeks. And as they brought them together, they call it Jesus or Jazus, and you say Jesus today. And they don't want you to say Yahshua, because if you say Yahshua, you can hear the word shoe. Uh-oh. And then you can start asking, who is Shu? Oh, he's one of the angels in ancient Egypt. Huh? They had angels in ancient Egypt? Yeah. They didn't call it Egypt, though. They called it Tamaray. Tamaray. Really? That ain't in my Bible. Oh, it's in your Bible. Somebody didn't want you to see it. The first country they talk about in the Bible is Ethiopia. But yet they try to skirt around Ethiopia and talk about the Middle East. And the Holy Line, bullet Holy Line, that's what it is. You understand? And so, in this day and time now, we have to appreciate and understand what is being asked of us. And what is being asked of us is to represent our intellectual heritage, our true religious identity. Because we are so afraid because we've been beaten for so long. We've been beaten physically, we've been beaten mentally, we've been beaten emotionally, we've been beaten spiritually. For hundreds and thousands of years, they beat us. They took our children and used them as alligator bait. They would make a wager or a bet on a pregnant woman's child. Is it a boy or is it a girl? And then slice her belly open. So when the baby fall out, they could see who was right and they could exchange money and stomp on the baby's head. That's what they did. That's why we so scared. That's why when Colin Kaepernick take a knee and say, I ain't standing for this song, this national anthem. That ain't what the song mean to me. Because y'all telling me that this is a free country and that everybody's supposed to be treated equally, but bodies are in the street and people are getting administrative leave and walking away from this as if nothing happened. Our brothers and sisters in America are being slaughtered. Oh, but what about black on black crime, Ka-Hun? Y'all don't care about that. Now just tell me, with all this black on black crime, which is true, which is a problem, how many of them are walking away or getting administrative pay after they kill a black person? They getting locked up. So the police should be getting locked up too, if we can use that standard. You understand? And so we see Colin Kaepernick saying, I'm not standing, and other players are now joining him. And there's an awakening taking place around the world. And so just as you are understanding the reality of what's going on and starting to wake up, so too the devil is waking up too, because Donald Trump out there. Now Donald Trump is not the devil. Let's just be clear. He's not the devil. You understand? But we must understand that there are forces that first must stimulate the minds of their children in order to get their work done in whichever realm they're working in. So while the camera is pointing to a Donald Trump, you got a million or millions or more who think just like him, actually doing what he's talking about. You understand? And I'm not telling you this to make you afraid. I'm telling you this to make you aware. And it's important that we understand this because you also have this narrative of, well, he ain't really black enough. Oh yeah, because there was colorism too. See, racism is one thing, but now you got colorism. They had a brown paper bag test. You don't know about that, eh? You put your hand next to the brown paper bag, and if you was lighter than the brown paper bag, you could step inside. If you wasn't lighter than the brown paper bag, you stay up outside. This is real. And they're still doing it today. You understand? That's why my man come up with the big afro after they made the comment that he ain't black enough. Like this one ain't black enough. It said no slave master ever. They say one drop. That was before reggae. One drop. You get one drop, you get 100 lashes for one drop. You understand what I'm saying? And so, I'm saying all of this to say, listen, if y'all got time to be petty, then, just prepare to be a slave. That's all they saying. Let's just prepare. Go ahead, bend over and stay bent over. You understand what I'm saying? We can't mince no words nowadays because time is running out. These children, if we don't break down certain obstacles, the children are going to have to deal with it. You understand? So, I'm not here to be your friend. It's good to be friends now. Don't get me wrong. It's good to be friends. But I ain't what I'm here for. Because the minute you decide you and my friend, guess what? Nothing changes with me. Life goes on. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not here to be your friend. I'm your Ka-Hun. You understand? The doctor ain't interested in being your friend. Yeah, the doctor is interested in diagnosing the problem and fixing it. I don't like how he stick me with that needle. And then he sent me home to drink this bottle of some bitter stuff. They made me take that twice. I hate him. They call me in the morning. Let me know how you feel. But sometimes these pointers hit you like a needle. Sometimes you're going to wash out your mouth with truth. It's bitter. Alkaline. You understand what I'm saying? So we start again. Let's go to page 43 in the original books of the Bible, the book of the beginnings. Because we want you to understand that what you see around you every day is a manifestation of the Most High Heavenly One. They've taught us that the Most High Heavenly One is some spook. That you have to close your eyes to see the Most High. You must imagine wherever He is. Right? And He's a He. Yeah. So who imaged these women in? Oh, really? No, the Most High Heavenly One is a female and a male. It's a God and Goddess head. It's a family. You understand? And if you don't appreciate that, then what happens? Then you disrespect the woman. And that's what our society has been based off of. It's been based off of the fact that, well, you know God is white. Everybody knows God is white. So now everybody who look white or is white, God knows what white is to them. Well, they have an advantage on you. You know, it's the same race as God. They might be God, but at least it's the same race. Yeah? And then you know God is a man. So you might be God, but you have the same gender as God. So, you know, go sit down if you're in a man. You understand? We own y'all women. Saying y'all got to carry our last name. Yeah, from the plantation days. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we own you. You know what I'm saying? No. Daughter? No, daughter, you can't pass on no name, man. You got to carry your husband name. And all the children come out of you, got to get his name too. See what I'm saying? And that's what the patriarchal societies have done to the matriarchal societies. And they've warped every aspect of our true religious identity. And they knew that they had to start with our spirituality, because in corrupting our understanding of the Most High Heavenly One, well, everything else is a domino effect after that. You see? And so, on page 43, looking at verse 2, it says, "Come join us and ascend on high. For as such, the guardian angelic helpers, by way of their voice, declared that nothing beneficial towards life, which has been created, made, and fashioned, would or could come about, except by way of the life giver, who is the greatest, the selected one who sits in the seat of Anku." Everybody say that. Anku. Was thereby originally known as Anu and An. This is important for us to stop here and understand this, because when Yahshua says, "You are from beneath and I am from above," the word above is the word Anu in the Greek, from on high. So the word Anu is actually in the King James Version, but not in the English. It's in the Greek. You understand? So when people hear these names, and where are you getting this from? The woman, people, fellas say, "Yeah, you just kill me," or Chrissy, look, "You just kill me how you just bring on this, but you just be making up words." His eyes kill you and hurry up, die then. What you waiting for? Right? So we're not making up words. We're showing you words that you didn't see. That's why the scriptures say, "He or she who have eyes to see and ears to hear." Right? So Anu is there in the Bible. This was and is very important, as this allowed for he who sits in the seat of Anu, because in this instance it was a he that was sitting in that seat. And I want to make it clear. There are many inhabitable abodes throughout the solar system and the galaxies. And there are places where men rule, and there are places where women rule, and there are places where other beings rule. And so whoever rules, the Most High Heavenly One comes to those people in that image and in that likeness. At this stage in our planet's growth and development, the planet is ruled by men. And these men that rule the planet do so in such a way whereby they want to always oppress and suppress women and the feminine energy. You understand? Which is why there are another group of men who were bred to protect their mothers, their sisters, their daughters, that are now lifting up the woman and saying, no, she must be on her throne if we are to advance. You see what I'm saying? And so at this point in stage in our growth and development, he who sits in the seat of Anku, to be, who was, is, and will be the intellect that allows all members of humanity as well as nature to possess an inherent determination, positiveness, and helpfulness. So the first recognition of the Most High Heavenly One that is a part of you is that part of you that allows you to possess an inherent determination, an inherent positiveness, an inherent helpfulness. You want to help people. You're positive. You're determined. That is a recognition of the Most High Heavenly One inside of you. You have what's called who he. And this who he represents divine will. Okay? This who he, let me show you what they did. Okay? Let me write it another way so you'll see it. This who he, what did they do? They kept the H, they made the U a double U, two U's. They kept that H, and they made the I a Y. You read it in dyslexia because they switched everything around. YHWH. Which later became Yahweh, which later became Jehovah. From who he. From the divine will. We can come back to who he. Right? What's the difference between divine will and simply will? I'll show you. Everybody raise your right hand. That's will. Put your hand down. Everybody, let's build a Kanisa. Let's write and learn and overstand 60 plus books. Let's produce the original books of the Bible. Let's wear our garbs. Let's learn Sila. Let's learn the Shubite. That's divine will. Because when I start telling you let's learn, it's like, huh? That too? What? You serious? I just feel that way too. Right? But that's divine will. Divine will makes you actually go out there and learn it and live it and keep it. So that's the first recognition of the Most High, is this inherent positiveness or determination that you have. You don't have to be a music student or an expert in music to know what good music sounds like. You know, when it's time for the talent show, people who scared to lose, they sing gospel songs. You know what I'm saying? And again, that Lord is the God, hallelujah. And everybody said, oh, this Lord, this child can't sing. That's praise him. You scared people. You know people might boo you because you saying, well, they ain't gonna boo the Lord. Right. Yeah, but you can't sing. So what allows you to know that person can't sing? There's a standard inside of you. There's a standard that was already inside of you. You know when a person walking around and don't have themselves together and they flamming. Yeah, we could smell a flam from a mile away, especially women. So I don't know why you just let us flam on them. Hey Lord, you know how much women I know with one child and plenty sense now? Don't miss that now.
After someone drop a baby on you, then you get sick. Where he is now, I don't talk to him. But you didn't know that before. You know? And I ain't knocking y'all women, because y'all have a sixth sense that we don't have. Y'all in tune with this planet. You understand? That's why we need to put y'all on the throne. That's why we need y'all to recognize that you too are the Most High. That we can't as men just stand up and talk about the Most High as a man, when our most important weapon against the devil are the woman.
Come on.
That's why they went after the woman first. Got to get this woman out the way. You know, Adam easy. He talk to him later. Go get it. You know how we go. All you gotta do is open the magazine and you want something else. we forget everything. Everything Ka-Hun say go out the window. Right? So that's the first thing. All right? Then it goes on to say now what the guardian angelic helpers want all members of humanity to realize is that intellect, everybody say intellect, intellectual, lecture. Okay, so these words of intellect, intellectual, lect or lecture, it signifies he who is the speaker of the word that exists in the beginning, or simply where things began, starting with hydrogen on through the 99 other elements. And so this is important for us to see and understand, because if we go to the book of John, and I'm showing you these things in the original books of the Bible as well as in the King James. And we don't only use the King James, but many people do use the King James. That's why we use it. It's one of the more popular versions. But we don't only use the King James. I'm just putting that out there. But it says, chapter 1, verse 1. Because again, we're referencing this intellect, this intellectual, this left, the speaker of the word. Right? John 1 and 1 says, in the beginning was the Word. And the Word was with God. And the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. So, this book of John, chapter 1, verse 1, is actually talking about an ancient African precept whereby you had one of the guardian angelic hosts known as Ta or Tar. Let's put who we back up here. And you have Ta or Tar. And when you learn about, I'm not going to go into the full details of Ta at this point in time, but it's important that you understand that this particular guardian angelic host did just that. Use the word to create. Okay? And so, again, a part of your true religious identity was hijacked, watered down, and placed in a book called the Book of John that ultimately doesn't give full clarity on what it is that's being talked about. Because yes, people will read this and say, but Jesus is the Word, and the Word manifested, etc., etc. But we don't focus on, well, what word? Plenty words. You understand? You got a Greek word, you got a Roman word, you got a Hindu word. You got all our different words, but which word exactly? Right? And so, this speaker of the word, it gets into detail. Okay, that exists in the beginning, or simply where things began, starting with hydrogen, on through the other 99 other elements. Yes, we know that there are more than 99 elements on the periodic table, but we're talking about the base elements, the 99 base elements. These 99 base elements, okay, correspond with 99 attributes that also correspond with 99 guardian angelic hosts. So the Word was producing an infrastructure for the Most High to manifest. What are we saying? Everything that you see around you, we can do a little chemistry and physics right now. Everything that you see around you is made up of particles. And these particles called what? Atoms. What that word sound like? Atom sound like atom? Oh, interesting, eh? Because in the book of Genesis, they talking about this first man and woman. Don't miss it now, because Genesis 1 don't call no man Adam. It says male and female created he them and called their name Adam. Oh, so the first man and woman was called Adam. Okay? But Adam, okay, who consisted of Zakar and the Keba, okay, spell check the Keba, right? Keba, sorry, W. Right? Were made up of atoms. And these atoms are also called elements. Elementary, primary, the root. Okay? So there's nothing around you right now that it is not made up of atoms. Okay? And so the speaker of the word was producing or bringing forth these atoms. And what did these atoms allow to happen? It allowed for what you know as the physical world to manifest, to form. Okay? Because at the end of the day, these atoms became molecules, and then these molecules became cells, and then these cells became tissues, and then these tissues became, it's biology now, tissues became organs, and then these organs work together in a system, and then these systems, because there's 14 systems inside of the body, becomes a body. And that's key for us to understand, because if we appreciate this link from not even the atom, but even before the atom, which is what we're going to touch on in a second. Yes? Because the Most High Heavenly One is also referenced on page 12. If you go to the top of page 12 in the original books of the Bible, okay? The Most High Heavenly One, Anere, everybody say that again, Anere. At the top of page 12 in the original books of the Bible, Papyrus 1, it says, Yet Anere, the self-contained one, who rules and precedes all, inclusive of the state of nothingness. So Anere is self-contained. Anere rules and precedes, or is before the element. Is before antimatter. Is before existence. You see? Because it says, it precedes all, inclusive of the state of nothingness. And what you call, go back to 43, what you call nothingness is ultimately what scientists today refer to as antimatter. Because when you say nothing, you're saying no thing, or a thing that hasn't been numbered yet. Because the first number, 1, is hydrogen. So anything smaller than hydrogen, they haven't numbered it yet. So it's nothing in the eyes of the Western or mundane scientists. Though they spend millions and billions of dollars investigating nothing. Hey, What y'all spend a lot of money on? None. That's essentially what they're doing, right? The reality is that these elements, these attributes, these guardian angelic hosts are the Most High Heavenly One. It goes on to say, overstanding these points where things sum up to something. So there's nothing and then there's something. Now, they trick us with words, and this is why we keep saying we're under spell. Because you see something, but you don't see something. You see? To sum up a thing. Because as the atoms become molecules, they're what? They're summing up, they're adding up. And that's what something ultimately is. Amun? So, overstanding these points where things sum up to something, it says, an existence predates creation. Much as in the case when darkness predates illumination. Because God had to be in dark to say, let there be light. So God was operating in darkness. Yeah, you can imagine. My Lord. Right? Just as ether predates the lightest element, hydrogen. So antimatter, okay, is ultimately a form of ether. Okay? Thereby things are weighed and evaluated in order to have a sum, which is used for the logging of things. Because they'll tell you matter is anything that takes up space. Okay? And it has weight within space and time. Because it would have existed or started to exist for a period of time until it no longer exists. That's what they call matter. Why do they call it matter? Because it matters to them. Sandy, y'all think these people are really smart. They're not. They are not smarter than you. The original people of this planet. They only made to look smart. If I have the cliff notes and I have all the answers to the tests and I give you a wrong book to study to begin with. You have in biology, I give you the music book. Study hard now. Chapter 8 through 12. And you come there ready to quote the scales and I got the song memorized, and they ask you, what's the difference between the cell membrane and the cell wall? Huh? Now you look dumb. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what they've done to us. So things matter because, or they call things matter because that's what matters to them. All right? And so the reality then is that it says, thereby things are weighed and evaluated in order to have a sum, which is used for the logging of things. Yet from ether one on into the triple darkness manifests the root of all thoughts, before things became totally perceivable without the use of physical instruments or scales. So that's going on into a reality that we now have to become familiar with. Because you're living in a world that is a reflection of reality. And here's how I'm going to prove that to you. When you have an opportunity, I just want you to Google, or even better, if you find a video that shows you how you see things. Because what that video is going to show you is that if I'm here looking at this marker, okay, in order for she's all right. Oh my. She's excited. She's excited.
She is excited.
Oh, wow. She's all right. All right. No problem. No problem. Hey, we here for the children. I don't need trick daddy, love the children. All right? So if you're looking at this marker, right? What is happening? Before your brain can interpret that this is a marker, the eye does what? It flips the image over. And then the brain can process this as a marker. And that's for everything that you look at. Everything that you see It must be flipped over and then processed. What should that tell you? That you're seeing things backwards. That you're seeing the reflection of the reality. That when you sit in a mirror, the real you is in the mirror. The real you is in the mirror.
Michael Jackson told
Yeah, because we got to know who the Most High is. We got to understand him. Start with the man in the mirror. The real you is the man or the woman in the mirror. And the person that is on the outside of the mirror is actually living in the fantasy world. It's an illusion. It's an illusion. Because this is rubber, right? Right? Isn't it rubber? Isn't it? Or do you live in a world of illusions? Where the hand is quicker than the eye. You understand? And that's what this is what they gave you as the Most High. The illusion. And you don't understand that it's an illusion because you don't understand how the Most High manifests. Because everything that they teach you, they separate it so that you never connect the dots. So, the first science that you technically should learn, and they've taught us to hate science, is physics. Because physics deals with forces. And those forces eventually come together, whereby antimatter then becomes the actual building blocks of the atom, the proton, the neutron, the electron. And then ultimately you have an atom. Yes? And which branch of science looks at atoms? Chemistry. So from physics, we move to chemistry. And then these atoms work together, become molecules, and then they ultimately become cells. Which branch of science deals with cells? Biology. And then in biology, you learn about systems and they become bodies. Yes? And what happens? Those bodies must interact. So which science deals with the interaction of bodies? Sociology. But those people that are bodies, because not only people, dogs, cats, rats, that are interacting, they are interacting in a specific place. Which branch of science deals with geography? See? And so, why didn't we learn it like that? Because apart from learning science, you would have been learning how the Most High manifests. You would have been seeing that the Most High is on every single level, manifesting as you can digest it. And if you saw it that way, then you would see a link or a connection to the Most High, which would then prompt you to become one with the Most High.
Eureka, I've got it.
Yay! Black light is on.
I've always said that since I went blind, that sight is a distraction.
My brother, you got it better than all us then.
Yep. Oh yeah.
In that regard.
I see it all.
You see it all.
Yeah.
And so,
He's with me.
I'm on.
There you go.
And so, I say that now, looking at, let's go back now to verse 1 in the same chapter of book 2, original books of the Bible, Papyrus 1. Because here it is in this day and time, our Baal Sesh, our Qubtic Pope in this day and time, that is bringing these messages forward. The voice of Gabriel on page 43, all right, just at the midway point of verse 1, it says, the voice of Gabriel declared that nothing would exist if he who sits in the seat of Anu, Yil Yil, didn't create it. This declaration was and still is made by we that are called Natar Yelohim, due to the reality that we overstand and promote the precept principle which teaches all members of humanity that in order for he who sits in the seat of Anu at any time period to create, the one selected must have already existed as a part of that which preceded or came before the seeding of creation within a realm or state, which the guardian angelic descendants and guardian ancestors refer to simply as the subatomic realm of pre-creation. Thus, if the so-called modern-day Christians say that the Caucasian Anglo God or Jehovah is the creator of all things, or the so-called modern-day Hebrews say that the Armenian Jewish God Yahweh or Adonai is the creator of everything, or the so-called modern-day Muslims say that the Pale Arab Emirates God Allah created everything, then the reality would be that their Yahweh, Allah, or God must have already existed in order to be able to create, proving that there is in fact existence prior to creation. So we must appreciate and understand the stages of growth known as creation, because there's a portion of you that was a part of each of those stages. And the Most High Heavenly One, and Nere, is manifested on each of those, or at each of those stages. Amen? And so, what is the take-home message outside of understanding that the Most High manifests on every realm or every plane? Well, what happens when we don't understand that? Right? I want us to just peek quickly at Psalms 33, because again, as we talk about the Most High, the voice of the Most High, and this manifestation of extensions of the Most High. Psalm 33, verse 6. Because this word, they keep talking about this word. And this word is what they wanted to steal from us as a people. These Vikings, these 6 kings, that they observed us. Before they enslave us, they observe us. So don't think that there are people in this country helping you, when in most instances they're just observing you so they know how to enslave you. But one of the things that they wanted to get from us was a sacred word. You see? They wanted the sacred word, but how did they know it was a sacred word? Because they was watching us. They was spying on us. As they still do today. And they got something going on in this country now with, what do they call it? NIA? NSA. Right? Where they watching people, listening to every phone call. You think your inbox is your inbox. Stay right there. Stay right there. Do you think your WhatsApp encrypted? Stay right there. Right? They knew that there was a word and they wanted that word. Because what would happen with that word? But Psalm 33 and 6 says, by the word of the Lord were the heavens made, and all the hosts of them by the breath of his mouth. Because the word is a vibration. The word is a tone. And that tone manifests as a harmony. 1, 3, 5, 7 in music. You understand? 1, 3, 5, 7 mean whatever scale you in, the first note, the third note, the fifth note, and the seventh note represents a harmony. And that harmony ultimately manifests as everything that you see around you, because everything around you is vibrating. How do you know that everything is around you? Ah, you see it. How do you know everything around you is vibrating? Because you can hear it? No. You can't hear everything, but for those that can see the things that are around them, everything has a what? Start with a C. Color. And where does color come from? Vibration. So everything around you has a color. That means it's vibrating at that particular color. But the original tone that allowed for these colors to manifest would be the black light or the true light. Say the light shineth in the light shineth in the darkness, but the darkness comprehended it not. But which light is that? The true light. The true light is the black light, because all colors come out of, come on now, black. They teach us that the black triangle, the pyramid on the flag is the people. I'm trying to change that now, but I can keep saying it. Because all people come out of black. That ain't being racist, that's being inclusive. Trying to include you in something, don't get mad.
You just saying it's pure.
Yeah, but you just saying it's black.
That's what I'm saying.
You understand? So the reality then is that the word, the sound, the tone manifests, and as it manifests, it slows down. Because they say we're on the physical realm. Yes? Whereby you have these sense organs. And if the sound is not within the threshold of what we call sound, then your eyes pick it up. It becomes color. Yes? If it moves out of the realm or the threshold of what you call color, it can move into sound. But it's all the same light. It's all the same light. You understand? And so that original sound was made by the Most High. And as the Most High made that original sound, and that sound began to slow down, then what you call a flower is a multiple vibrations coming together to represent a flower. What you call a human being is multiple vibrations coming together to make a human being. What you call a building and everything that makes the building up are multiple forms of vibration coming together and slowing down to give you what you call a building. And if you see that, then what you can appreciate is that everything around you is the Most High. Everything around you is the Most High. So when people ask you about the Most High, it shouldn't be about what is the Most High. It should be, well, what is it the Most High? Because everything around you is the Most High. Now, can the Most High be taken out of context? Yes. Because when you start separating the Most High from the whole, that's when the confusion starts. That's when we go to Revelation 18 as we wrap up. Revelation 18, 1 through 3. It says, and after these things, we there? And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. So again, the angel is bringing some light. The light is ultimately sound that is out of the threshold of hearing, that is now into the threshold of seeing, what you call visible light. Yes? So that light doesn't only mean a light that you can see. That light also is talking about a form of intellect. You understand? Because we were building centers of intellect. We were building universe cities. Cities where you came to learn about the universe. This is a universe city here in Bain Town that we have here right now. I don't care where they come from. Bring them. Bring them from Harvard. Bring them from MIT. Bring them. Let them sit here. If they could question us, they could run on with all the mathematical theories as much as they want. But the scriptures of the Most High are very clear and are very plain about what math is, about what science is, about what life is, what death is, etc. So this angel came bringing this light, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and become the habitation of devils. So people like to ask us, well, what y'all believe in possession? We don't believe nothing. We know that whole cities can be possessed. According to this, whole cities, you talking about a person being possessed. What you do when the government possess? People who making decisions for you possessed. Babylon the Great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit. Foul spirit. Come to you right now. Foul spirit. That means your spirit ain't in tune with the original tone. It's become foul. We could smell, we could see you from a mile away. You stench. And the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. The bird is likened unto the soul. The cage that you in is your own confusion and your own madness that you create for yourself. That's the confusion that you in. That's the cage that you in. For all nations, not some, not all except for Jerusalem and Vatican City. No, all nations are drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And this is what happens when your true religious identity is stolen from you, it's separated, it's divided. And some people take this portion, some people take that portion, and now you're in a state whereby you can't even recognize the Most High Heavenly One. Someone had their hand up back here. I don't know. I'm going to take questions at this time. Okay. Go ahead.
We're making potatoes.
She giving updates. Okay? So with that, we say Amun and Namastu. We give thanks.
You have been listening to the True Light Fellowship Hour, brought to you by the Qubtic Church of the Black Messiah, Journey Home Group International, and our advertising partners, of whom we are very thankful. We are located at number 72 Meadow Street in historic Bain town and led in the Bahamas by Pastor Dr. Cleveland W. Eneas III, also known as Ka-Hun, Anku. If this message has been a blessing to you today, and you feel it in your heart to assist us in bringing forth this weekly message by way of advertising or otherwise, or you wish a copy of this message, we ask that you please contact us at 242-426-1148 or email us at qubticrevealer@gmail.com. That's QUBTIC revealer@gmail.com, or on Facebook, the Qubtic Church of the Black Messiah Journey Home Group International, Bahamas branch. We bow to the divinity in each and every one of you by saying, Namastu.